I expect the committee to give us a synopsis of what 2023 budget of NDDC is like. I observe they are silent about that in these budgets. Even in the federal budget, in the national budget, contained in it is the performance of the previous year's budget that will lay a foundation for the consideration of the 2024 budget. So for these, I expect the chairman at least to guide us, to show us what it's like as far as the activities of the NDDC is concerned in 2023 concerning budget implementation. They are silent on it. We have no information. So if we go ahead and pass this 1.9 trillion budget for 2024, what are we predicating it upon in terms of performances? Yes, you might say it's the tradition, or that's the standard, but this is not at least good enough for the education of distinguished colleague as far as appropriation bill of a particular agency is like. And such a sensitive agency like NDDC, I want the chairman to please take cognizance of this. So in his future presentation of budgetary provision, budget of NDDC, we will have a full idea of what is contained in the activities of NDDC. Having said that, Mr. Chairman, I want to say that all the projects as stated here, we should please, because I observed that 174 billion was for unpaid projects across. What are these projects? Where are the lists that shows that they are really unpaid? All this clarification, we need to, at least the chairman need to go to the nitty-gritty of it, so that by the time the full implementation of this budget commences, he can follow it to the latter and to ensure that the right thing is done as far as NDDC is concerned. I so submit, Mr. President. Thank you, sir.
That is my baptism name. And Bishop Kuka has warned me that if I don't answer it, there are consequences. Okay. Sir, I have listened to the argument. Ordinarily, I don't have any reason why this bill should not go, because under the new management of NDDC, and with the eagle eye of the chairman and members of the NDDC committee, I believe that those of us in the South can say with confidence that things have changed, and things are changing, and they will change even more. With regard to the technical question raised by Senator Alelo, for whom I have a lot of respect, I think my recollection, I've not been here for too many years, but when we appropriate, we pass an appropriation law that provides for deficit. Subsequently, the president will write, as necessary, to ask the Senate to approve a borrowing plan. Not the other way around. You don't borrow without stating the purpose. So when we have passed the bill, which says that part of the money will be borrowed, in my view, and from my limited experiences I've been here, we can, when the president so requests, consider the request to borrow 1 billion or 1 trillion naira. I don't see fundamental contradiction. But let me also say that we shouldn't make the mistake of saying that because the boy has been misbehaving, even when he's changing, we continue to judge it by his dirty past. I think NDDC, under his current management, are doing the right thing. They are focusing on projects that are viable, that are durable, that are physical people can see. And I think we just need to encourage the new management to do what they are already doing. Therefore, from we in the South, there can be no perfection. But when we see, for people like us who are used to criticizing, when we see what is good, we have to acknowledge it. Yes, like somebody said, there have been a lot of debts and so on. There are issues whether the jobs were done or not done. But after the audit, they have been able to separate jobs not done from jobs that are done, for which NDDC has not paid. They've had this reputation of awarding contract, people borrow money to do the job, and the job is not paid. Such job is only fair if you are not going to collapse those contractors who have invested their money or borrowed to do those jobs. It is only fair that they are paid once the job has been properly verified. It is not paying for invisible contracts. So, Mr. President, I feel there is no better person who is more familiar with the challenges of Niger Delta than your humble self. So I want to plead with my colleagues that let's not judge or let our attitude not be influenced by the past. Let it be formed by the new progressive development that we've all have noticed, at least those of us from the South-South. I urge my colleagues to support this bill. And if there are technical issues that need to be worked out, I'm sure the committee can always handle those. Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, let me also start by commending the chairman for presenting this report in good time. But, Mr. President, I have one observation, very important observation. The NDDC is borrowing 1 trillion naira. And I doubt very much if this has been presented in the borrowing plan. Normally, if the federal government wants to borrow money, it either presents it through the borrowing plan, or Mr. President will forward a request to the National Assembly, asking the National Assembly to approve the borrowing of 1 trillion naira. But it is included here. Does it mean that this approval we are giving will suffice what the normal procedure is? The normal procedure, as I said earlier, is for the President to forward a request to the National Assembly, both the Senate and also the House of Representatives. And the request is normally given to the committee to deliberate and then come up with the report. But now it is included in the budget. I think the procedure here has been bypassed, in my opinion, Mr. President. So I want an explanation on this. Furthermore, Mr. President, NDDC is a child of necessity. We must do all we can to ensure that the money that is given to NDDC is used judiciously and prudently. And if we do so, it will change the fortune of that area. I know we have 9 states, but if this money is used, annually we do approve close to about 2 trillion naira to NDDC. That is more than a budget of 2 states. But, Mr. President, I'm afraid to say that we have not seen much progress, and a lot of people are saying so. And I believe the committee on NDDC has to do their job by regularly doing oversight so that they will ensure that whatever money is approved by the National Assembly is properly utilized. Mr. President, thank you very much.
The Deputy Senate President.
Mr. President, Barrow Jibrin cannot not, Mr. President. First of all, Mr. President, let me commend the committee for a job well done. Despite the reservation raised by Senator Yayi, the report is well put together, very articulate, and direct to the point. I'm always in support in whatever that will bring development to Niger Delta. That is a base of our economic strength as of now, because our economy is dependent on oil as we speak, and that's a place where this oil is being exploited, but yet they have a lot of problems, environmental problems. So it is always my stance to stand with them, because I was one of those that enacted the law, the NDC law, in the year 2000 when I was in the House of Representatives. So that said, I am fully in support of the fact that they are going to have more funds through loans, it shows they are now getting focused because this money, as stated, is dedicated to particular project, legacy projects, which is good. Otherwise, I mean, before now, there was a kind of haphazard spending, and that was why we can't have the needed development that the area desires. I commend the present management of NDC for now being focused, channeling the money to projects that are really meaningful and dedicated to the development of the area. We shouldn't go into little mistakes here and there, but the substance of the budget itself, as I said, is well focused now, compared to how it has been. So I think we should give the full support needed to this report so that it will go through the stage of its processing so that the budget will start, the implementation will start. And again, I also commend the committee because before now, the NDC budget was brought to us at the end, close to the end of the year, sometime in November, sometime in December. But now we're having the budget earlier than before. And the committee also did well. Before now, the committee used to hold the budget for 3, 4, 5 months, like the previous, in the 9th Senate. The report was with the committee for almost 3 to 4 months.
No, sometimes up to 7 months.
So the committee did well by quickly acting on the report, on the bill, and the bill is now before us for the final processing. And I want to draw the attention of Mr. President that at this stage, there's no need for debate. It's against our rule to continue to debate, this bill at this stage. It should have been debated during the second reading, which was done. Anybody that had reservation could have raised that reservation then. But now, it's good for us to go to the committee of whole so as to get the bill dealt with appropriately. It's clearly stated in section 79 of our rules.
Read to guide us.
On the order for the second reading of a bill being read, a motion may be made that the bill be now read a second time, and a debate may arise covering the general merits and principles of the bill. So it's only at the second reading that you can now ventilate your view on the general merits or whatever on the bill, and we are past that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, but there's a question borrowing, and does it mean it's not going to pass through the normal procedure of Parliament approving it and all that? So, yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Comments on this budget. The first was by...
Sorry, I asked you a specific question.
Yes, sir. I wanted to address the 2 reservations.
There are other senators that are members of your committee. After you finish speaking, you wouldn't have an opportunity again.
So let me yield until...
So it's good for you to listen first.
No.
Okay, so let me listen to...
My dear colleagues, Henry Seriake Dixon, Bayelsa West. Mr. President and my dear colleagues, I just want to make a few comments, even though by our rules, as I've been read, this is not the stage for a debate on the general principles, but at any stage, it is free for legislators to make comments and offer guidance. So all that has been said, I think, has been properly said and in the right way too. But I want to begin by addressing the issue raised by Senator Olamilekan when he said, when he talked about those issues about the way and manner the budgeting has been done, and talking about the debts that have to be provided for in the way this budget seeks to do. Mr. President, you know the roles we played at several levels before now, particularly when you were minister and I was chairing the Niger Delta Governors Forum, and how we sought audience with the presidency and your good self. And we made the case for a forensic audit
It wasn't the view of the presidency or the executive. We, the governors of the region, because of our concern for what was going on, and that request was acceded to and carried out. So as at now, the NDDC management and board are in possession of the forensic reports, which has enabled them to now pinpoint the contracts that are performing, those that are terribly bad, and those that actions need to be taken about. So what has happened is that they have been able to isolate jobs that need to be continued, jobs that need to be concluded for the benefit of the region. And in the last couple of months, we have seen a number of actions on some projects that are big ticket projects, which is what we have always called on them to do in the region. So they deserve to be supported. Now, our good colleague, Senator Adelo, raised the issue of the 1 trillion borrowing. And he's right in saying that, well, maybe we should have had an executive communication to deal with it and by way of giving approvals, both chambers. But I don't think that we have to throw this away because that has not been done. I think it can come either before, maybe ideally we could have taken that. But now that we have this budget to consider, it's not out of place to deal with it now. Because now we will be talking of a deficit borrowing, a deficit budget, deficit spending. So we authorize it, believing that the president, maybe when he's bringing any other communication, will come with the right request to regularize it. And talking about the situation in the NDC, I just want to align with the comments of Senator Oshiomole, that those of us from the region, all of us who have been critical across the country, critical about the way certain things have been done in the NDDC. And it's not just peculiar to the NDDC. The issue of inefficiency is common to all national institutions. I don't think the NNPC is any better. I don't think the NPA is any better. There's no national institution that is free from those challenges of inefficiency and waste. Or even the regional development commissions. The Northeast Development, I'm not a member of the committee, and I'm not privy to what is going on there, but we also hear comments going around. So this is a national malaise, but we are grateful for the concern for the development of the Niger Delta, and we appreciate the concern and the support that we have continued to get for the development of that area. But what I can say lastly is that the new board and management appear to be on focus, on track. We have also not heard of any disharmony and crisis, as has been the case, and they need to be encouraged. They are focusing on big ticket projects. Last 2 weeks, they were in Bayelsa to officially commission a project that when I was governor, because of the importance, the state also supported the Ogbia Nimbe Road with 3 billion donated by the state when I was governor, because of the importance. So I was very pleased sitting down there when they were officially commissioning that road. And they are doing so in so many other areas. So my submission is to call on Mr. President and other distinguished colleagues, irrespective of the technical issues that have been raised and the concerns that have been voiced legitimately, we should, in the overall interest, pass this budget as requested. And I want to stop by thanking the President for the renewed focus and the support and the encouragement that the President is giving to the development of the Niger Delta through the activities and actions of the Niger Delta Development Commission. Because if the President didn't give that permission, we wouldn't even be talking of the possibility of a 1 trillion naira injection. And that's a good development, Mr. President. So we should encourage what the executive is doing and planning to do in support of this agency to fast-track the interventionist development of the region. So, Mr. President, finally, I urge on all of us to, at this stage, pass the budget as requested, sent to us in time, in a long while, sent to us through the presidency, to us, and the committee has dealt with this. Let us pass it and allow the committee and the leadership and others to have time to deal with the regularization and other issues that we will have to deal with. Thank you.
I've just had an interaction with the chairman of the committee, and what's supposed to be done, we have highlighted it based on the Fiscal Responsibility Act. And he told me that everything has been captured. The only thing they have not just analyzed them out here. And then I advise that they should also coordinate with the DMO, Debt Management Office, because such a debt profile for government agencies or any government corporation must go in line with the cap which the Fiscal Responsibility Act have enumerated. So with this, I believe that we all understand where the lapses are, and they are not lapses that can stop this budget from going. All we need is for the committee and the agency to work out those modalities and make sure that they meet the standard. Thank you, Mr. President.
To debate before we commit it to second reading. And then after the debate, we now commit it to the committee to go and handle. And it's at the committee level that all these issues ought to and must have been raised. At the end of it all, if we had committed it to the committee of the whole, immediately after the general principles and merits, after the second reading, we committed it to the committee of the whole. That's when we could all have sat down to go through all the debates. But we must trust our committee that they have done a good job and that they had actually asked all these questions. But Chairman, please note them. And one of the things that came to my mind was that, yes, this is a bill that came from the presidency. But you know that before they can go a borrowing to the tune of 1 trillion, they must follow due process. They must follow due process. So I don't think this is the end of the discussion with them. And the committee on NDDC must do its best to do the oversight function and to guide them properly. So I would like to put the question. Prayer 5.0. That this Senate do consider and approve the year 2024 budget proposal for the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, in the sum of 1,811,844,833,046 naira only. Those in support of this recommendation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Accordingly, the 2024 statutory budget proposal of the Niger Delta Development Commission in the total sum of 1,911,844,833 naira and 46. I'll take that again. 1,911,844,000,000. This money is too much for me. 1 trillion. I hope that is not on the record. 1,111,844,833,046 naira is hereby Approved and passed. Leader of the Senate.